A 421-pound human wrecking ball crashes through a warehouse wall, his weaponized cowl ears gleaming like knives as he demolishes 3 armed criminals in seconds. Meanwhile, across town, a 210-pound shadow drops silently from the rafters, taking down an entire gang without a single punch thrown. Today, we're running the numbers to see which Batman would actually dominate as a real-world vigilante. We're talking Prime Batman, your classic billionaire Bruce Wayne versus Absolute Batman, the blue-collar beast from DC's new Absolute Universe. We'll analyze their physical capabilities, financial resources, the enemies they face, and their tactical approaches using real science and data. Which version would survive longer, fight more effectively, actually make Gotham safer? Let's find out. The size difference alone tells a massive story. Prime Batman stands 6'2" and weighs 210 pounds. Peak human athleticism optimized for speed, agility, and martial arts precision. Absolute Batman? He's 6'9" and weighs 421 pounds. That's a completely different category of human being. Let's calculate the striking force potential using real physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. Prime Batman's punch, thrown by a 210-pound frame with perfect technique, generates roughly 1,300 pounds of force, enough to shatter concrete blocks. But Absolute Batman's 421-pound mass, even with slower acceleration, produces around 2,100 pounds of force per strike. The armor tells an even more interesting story. Prime Batman's suit represents cutting-edge material science, memory cloth that hardens on impact, ceramic trauma plates, and integrated electronics worth millions. It's designed by Wayne Enterprises' R&D department with unlimited budgets and the finest materials on Earth. This suit prioritizes protection while maintaining flexibility for acrobatic maneuvers. Absolute Batman's armor takes the opposite approach. Every single piece is a weapon. The cowl ears, retractable knives that can be thrown or used in close combat. The chest emblem, it detaches as a battle axe. The shoulder spikes can be launched as projectiles. This isn't just armor, it's a walking arsenal built in a garage by someone who understands that sometimes the best defense is overwhelming offense. Here's where it gets scientifically fascinating. Prime Batman's suit uses advanced polymers and titanium alloys, materials that cost roughly $50,000 per square foot. The suit probably weighs around 30 pounds, but provides protection equivalent to military-grade body armor. Absolute Batman's homemade suit weighs closer to 80 pounds, using steel plating and improvised materials, but every ounce serves dual purposes. The mobility trade-offs are crucial. Prime Batman can run at speeds approaching 25 miles per hour, leap across 15-foot gaps, and move silently across any surface. His suit enhances these natural abilities. Absolute Batman sacrifices speed for raw defensive capability. His suit can absorb direct gunfire. Prime Batman's suit might stop the first 20 bullets perfectly, then fail completely on the 21st. Absolute Batman's suit might let through some impact from every hit, but it'll still be functional after taking 50 rounds. The psychological impact matters too. Prime Batman appears as a shadowy figure, terrifying because you can't see him coming. Absolute Batman is terrifying because you can see exactly what's coming and you know you can't stop it. Combat effectiveness comes down to scenarios. In a one-on-one fight against a skilled opponent, Prime Batman's speed and technique give him the advantage. Against multiple armed attackers in close quarters, Absolute Batman's weaponized suit and raw power become overwhelming. Prime Batman is a scalpel, precise, efficient, elegant. Absolute Batman is a sledgehammer, brutal, direct, devastating. But raw power means nothing without the resources to sustain it. Let's talk money, because in the real world, being a vigilante is expensive. Wayne Enterprises is estimated to be worth around $31 billion, with an annual R&D budget that likely exceeds $2 billion. That's more than some countries spend on their entire military. Prime Batman has access to cutting-edge laboratories, prototype weapons, and a team of engineers working around the clock to keep him operational. Prime Batman's standard loadout is astronomical. His Batsuit alone probably cost $15 million when you factor in the advanced materials, integrated electronics, and custom manufacturing. The Batmobile? Conservative estimate puts it at $18 million. That's assuming you could even buy the proprietary technology Wayne Enterprises develops. His grappling guns use custom engineered cables that cost $500 per foot. Then there's the infrastructure. The Batcave represents hundreds of millions in construction, supercomputers, forensic equipment, and vehicle maintenance facilities. Prime Batman burns through approximately $2 million worth of equipment every month just on routine operations. When the Joker blows up a Batplane, that's a $50 million loss that gets replaced within weeks. Absolute Batman operates on a completely different economic model. His background in civil engineering and blue-collar jobs taught him improvisation and resourcefulness that money can't buy. When your cowl ears break, you don't call Wayne Enterprises. His entire suit probably costs less than $50,000 to build, using steel plating, motorcycle parts, and industrial materials. Maintenance costs tell the real story. Prime Batman's high-tech gear requires specialized facilities, rare materials, and expert technicians. When his suit's memory cloth tears, it needs laboratory-grade repairs. Absolute Batman's steel plating can be welded in any garage. Real-world military data shows us something crucial about resource efficiency. The U.S. military spends roughly $400,000 per deployed soldier annually when you include equipment, support, and logistics. Guerrilla fighters operate effectively on budgets under $2,000 per year. The high-tech approach requires massive supply chains and infrastructure. The improvised approach adapts to whatever's available. Prime Batman can't afford to lose expensive equipment because he can replace it immediately. But what happens when Wayne Enterprises is compromised? Absolute Batman's approach scales with resource scarcity. The less he has, the more creative he becomes. Against organized crime with limited resources, Prime Batman's technological advantage is overwhelming. But against chaotic, unpredictable threats, like the 700% murder rate increase in absolute Gotham, that technological edge matters less than raw adaptability. The enemies each Batman faces reveals everything about which approach actually works in the real world. Prime Batman operates in a Gotham where organized crime follows predictable patterns. The Joker has psychological motivations you can analyze. Two-Face makes decisions based on coin flips. Penguin runs criminal enterprises with clear hierarchies and profit motives. These are enemies you can study, predict, and counter with the right technology and planning. Absolute Batman faces something completely different. His Gotham has seen a 700% increase in murder rates thanks to gangs like the Party Animals, skull-masked killers who operate without clear motives or organizational structure. You can't psychoanalyze chaos. You can't predict random violence. When your enemy's strategy is kill everyone, your response needs to be immediate and overwhelming. Let's analyze the threat assessment data. Traditional organized crime, like what Prime Batman faces, follows economic incentives. The FBI's organized crime statistics show that 85% of criminal activities have financial motivations. Drug trafficking, extortion, robbery, these crimes have logical patterns. The Party Animals represent something closer to terrorist cells or gang warfare in failed states. When we look at crime statistics from cities like Caracas or San Pedro Sula, criminal organizations fragment into smaller, more unpredictable groups. The traditional rules that govern organized crime break down completely. Prime Batman can afford to spend hours analyzing crime scenes. His enemies usually give him time to investigate because they're planning elaborate schemes with multiple moving parts. The Riddler leaves clues because he wants to be caught. Penguin's operations take weeks to plan and execute. Absolute Batman doesn't get that luxury. When the murder rate jumps 700% in a single year, the escalation pattern reveals a fundamental difference in criminal psychology. The Joker's schemes become more elaborate because he's trying to prove philosophical points. Bane increases physical challenges because he wants to break Batman specifically. These escalations follow psychological logic that can be countered with preparation and superior resources. The Party Animals don't have personal vendettas or philosophical goals. Prime Batman's fear tactics work because his enemies are rational actors who can be intimidated. But psychological warfare fails against enemies who aren't psychologically intact. Studies from conflict zones show that fear-based deterrence becomes ineffective when dealing with combatants who have nothing to lose, like Detroit during its economic collapse or parts of Mexico during cartel wars, show that traditional policing approaches become obsolete. Community policing, detective work, and rehabilitation programs all require stable social structures. Prime Batman fights supervillains who could theoretically destroy the world, but Absolute Batman fights something that's actually destroying his world right now: the complete breakdown of civil society. The enemies determine the tactics, and the tactics determine survival. Prime Batman's tactical approach centers on precision planning and information superiority. He spends weeks studying criminal patterns, building psychological profiles, and developing specific countermeasures for each threat. His detective work capabilities are legendary. This methodical approach works because his enemies operate within predictable frameworks. Real-world special forces data supports this strategy for conventional threats. Navy SEALs spend months planning single operations, gathering intelligence, and rehearsing every possible scenario. Their success rates exceed 95% because preparation eliminates variables. Prime Batman applies this same physiology. He wins fights before they start by knowing more than his enemies. But Absolute Batman operates on pure improvisation and overwhelming force. His blue-collar engineering background taught him to solve problems with whatever tools are available. When a situation goes sideways, he doesn't retreat to analyze. He adapts in real time. Military studies show that improvisation becomes crucial when facing unpredictable threats where traditional planning fails. Prime Batman uses fear through mystery. Criminals don't know when or how he'll strike, creating paranoia that disrupts their operations. Absolute Batman uses fear through overwhelming brutality. Criminals know exactly what he'll do: destroy them completely. This approach works better against chaotic threats. Detective work capabilities highlight another crucial difference. Prime Batman has access to forensic laboratories, DNA analysis, and computer systems that can process massive amounts of data. Absolute Batman's investigative methods are more direct. He finds criminals by following the violence and extracts information through intimidation. But in cities with breakdown-level violence like Absolute Gotham, detective work becomes nearly impossible. There's too much crime, too few witnesses willing to talk, and too little time between incidents. Absolute Batman's approach creates immediate deterrence because criminals simply avoid areas where they might encounter him. Real-world special forces recognize both approaches as valid. Delta Force use Prime Batman's methodical planning for high-value targets. Marine Corps infantry use Absolute Batman's overwhelming force for chaotic battlefield conditions. Based on real-world analysis, Absolute Batman would be the more effective vigilante in today's urban environments. His brutal efficiency, resource independence, and adaptability to chaotic threats make him better suited for actual crime fighting than Prime Batman's high-tech approach. Subscribe for more superhero science breakdowns that reveal which fictional heroes would actually work in reality.